I know I'm late, but I just saw Together, directed by Michael Shanks, starring Alison Brie and Dave Franco, and here are my general thoughts without spoilers. If you like film content, trailer talk, or reviews like this, I'm your guy. Follow for more. This body horror film was Michael Shanks' directorial debut and got picked up by Neon this year. And it stars Dave Franco and Alison Brie, who are married in real life. In this movie, they play Tim and Millie respectively, who move into the wilderness basically out in the middle of nowhere, once Millie, played by Alison Brie, gets her new teaching job. Their relationship is on the rocks, which makes this move a little weird, but once they go on an impromptu hike, they unknowingly encounter a force that actively brings things together, interconnecting their lives further than they knew was possible, whether they like it or not. That's all I'll really give about this film. What did I think? The emotional core and the relationship aspect in this film is really solid. It's an allegory for codependency, and I think this film explores that really well. The story is backed by a lot of personal and real feelings, whether that's Shanks basing the relationship in this film off the relationship he has with his wife, or the real-life marriage between the two co-stars in this film. Creates such a real film despite everything. Oftentimes the more human moments or arguments make you more uncomfortable than the body horror itself. Speaking of the body horror in this film, my baby's first experience with it was The Substance of last year, and I like that movie so much, that's why I was excited for this predominantly. While I don't think it affected me as much, the visual effects here are so good. Flesh, skin, bone, all that shit. Especially one of the final shots, everything's kind of building up to the moment, and I think they did it well enough. The camera work here is visceral, not just in the body horror sequences, but just around the whole thing. One scene in particular that stood out to me was these overhead driving shots with a scene in a shower. If you know, you know, I was really impressed there. Dave Franco and Alison Brie obviously have chemistry here. I love Community, so I was very excited about Alison Brie being in this movie. I knew she would knock it out of the park. Dave Franco, on the other hand, was somebody I was a little bit more worried about. And him kind of being the central character of this movie, I think he really sold it. The first 5 minutes, I was a little bit hesitant based off his demeanor, but in the film, it actually makes sense. They're really able to sell this troubled dynamic between the two of them, and there's a lot of nuances in their separate performances, making the body horror aspect of it all the more visceral. My main problem with this film is the actual execution of the mystery itself. The aforementioned force that brings things together. There's a twist in this film that I got almost immediately once the character was introduced. It's kind of hard where there's not many characters. Well, I think some aspects of it were actually pretty unique, but I think ultimately the payoff of it is pretty predictable and unsatisfying. There's so much lead up in all these different symbols that kind of just fade. I think a lot of the suspense in the first act, but especially the second act, kind of whimpers out towards the third. A little bit more cheeky than clever. Especially the scene before the ending scene and the ending shot. Like, I get what it's saying ultimately, but things kind of get muddled. I feel like there could have been so much more in that third act for things to feel warranted. Maybe it was a budget issue, or maybe that was the actual intention with it. It didn't hit me as hard as I wanted it to. I initially saw this movie yesterday, and I had a little bit more of a conflicting outlook, but now that I've given it a day, it's a little bit more positive. There's a strong concept here. I think Michael Shanks mostly delivers. I just think that the third act itself just brings it down a lot. I ultimately gave this movie a 3.5 out of 5. Have you seen it? What'd you think? Remember, all movies are art, and of course, follow for more.